So, closing in on the Tokyo Olympics, and I'm going to start doing a series of interviews with athletes from Australia who are going to compete in Tokyo. Today, it's my great pleasure to talk to Luke Plapp, who I talked with earlier this year after the national championships on the road. And he is off to contest the track events in Tokyo. So, we're going to talk a lot about team shooting because that's something that I've done for 30 years. And we'll find out a little bit more about his hopes and expectations from a race which Australia has a long, rich history in. 4,000 metres, 16 laps of the 250-metre velodrome. And to be honest, everyone's expecting the world record to drop again. That's how it's been at the Olympics for many years. Australia hasn't won since 2004, but they've been on the podium twice since that time. Silver in London, silver in Rio. Will it be gold in Japan? We'll wait and see. Let's introduce Luke to this conversation, and we'll just find out how he's been preparing with basically no racing at all. You're looking healthy, you're looking happy, you're looking like you're in a hotel room. Is that where you are?
Yeah, we're in our hotel bubble at the moment where it's just us, just our team here chilling. We've got our own lunchroom, own rooms, own everything, so it's quite isolated.
You're up in Brisbane, is that right?
Yeah, we're up in Brizzy. So we're up here. I guess the track's a lot quicker up here for us. It's a better shape. It's a bit more like Tokyo, so it can allow us to get to those race speeds a bit better than Adelaide. We struggle to hit those real low numbers in Adelaide, but up here it's real nice. And I guess we've got a bit of comparison. We've raced here quite a lot with the World Cups and also Com Games, so it's quite good to compare times up here.
Wow, you ripped straight into some of the technicalities. Anyone would assume that a velodrome is a velodrome is a velodrome. Tell me about the differences in shape and how you can tell while you're going 60 plus K an hour.
Yeah, it's quite interesting at the moment. The actual conditions aren't the greatest here in Brisbane, or let alone Australia, anywhere really. But the track shape of Brisbane allows you to still go quicker when the conditions aren't amazing. We've got conditions like these in Adelaide, and you're 0.1, 0.2, even 0.3 slower a lap just based off the actual shape of the track compared to up here. And we're also lucky with the bends here in Brisbane. They're quite steep, quite long as well. So they do give you a lot more in the bends, and that's where you get to generate all your speed is in the bends. So it's almost the perfect shape, to be honest.
Ordinarily, you, as an Olympic candidate, would have raced some trial events on the velodrome that's to be used for the Olympics. But I don't imagine that you would have raced the Tokyo velodrome. Is that right?
I haven't personally, but all the other boys have. They've actually raced it fair few times each. They've been up there, I reckon, 2016, 17, 18, maybe even 19 they went up there. So a few of them, a lot of that was just for Madison and bunch events. The boys went up there to almost, I guess, get a feel for the velodrome leading into Tokyo. That was sort of the purpose of being up there. I haven't been up there, but from what I've heard, the straights are long enough to land a jumbo jet. They're pretty big straights down there.
Steeper turns are better for faster times. Are they sharper turns as well?
Yeah, they are. They're sharper. I think what makes Tokyo so good is the air density that we're going to get up there and the pressure, and that's sort of affected by the heat and the humidity. We've been told that it's 31 degrees, but feels like 39 up there, with humidity up to 70%. So it's just absolutely ridiculously fast conditions, and something that I think no one's going to have ever experienced going that quick at all. Like, we're peaking for the games, but at the same time, just the weather that's going to be there is going to create such a fast velodrome. I think the times are going to be ridiculous.
So atmospheric conditions are going to improve the times, but the atmosphere or the vibe in the stadium isn't going to be exactly like you would have hoped for. How do you feel about competing in front of empty stands?
Yeah, look, it's going to be a bit of a different scenario. I think we haven't competed for 18 months now anyway, so we've sort of forgot what competing feels like out of velodrome. But yeah, it is going to be quite interesting. I think every ride's going to sort of feel a bit like a qualies. It's a bit down. You're there when not many people are in the stands, and it's you and the velodrome to go out there and do the job. But yeah, look, we're pretty ready for it. We've been training that way. We've done a few rehearsals now where we haven't had a crowd, and we've been able to pull it together in times that we're quite happy with. So I think we're quite prepared for it.
When we spoke in probably February after the Nationals,
Yeah.
we were talking about a couple of different equipment experiments that you were going through. I don't know if you're really entitled to talk too much about that, or are you able to tell me a little bit about how the refinement process has gone since we spoke in February?
A lot of it's still the same since February. We've just refined it, I guess, to everyone's body shape and person, and everyone's a bit more customizable to themselves rather than just a generic suit or bike that we've ran, I guess, in the past. Everything's a bit more made for each individual person. But yeah, hopefully, I guess the proof will be in the pudding when we get to the games and see if the equipment has made a difference and if it has made us faster. But at the same time, every other country's got their own specialists and aerodynamicists who are going to be putting together some equipment that's going to be ridiculously fast. Just like we've seen GB in the past, I guess for us at these games, we're hoping that we're on a level playing field. I think at previous games, we've probably been a step behind GB and maybe some other nations. So I think hopefully we're on a level playing field or even a bit above leading into these games. I think the people we've got working behind the scenes on that's been pretty amazing, and we've seen some great gains in the last 12 months, especially.
I was looking at the British bikes. You know, they were unveiled a few years ago, to be honest. The Hope / Lotus collaboration. They're extreme. There's a photo of Ed Clancy standing behind one, and even though I'm used to seeing it, it still blows my mind. Are we going to see a big surprise from the Argon bikes that you've been riding, or the Argon 18 bikes?
No, our bikes look like a normal bike, and they'll be the same as what we have rode for a fair while now. So there's nothing that should surprise people with our bikes, and they handle like a normal bike. I don't know what those Hope bikes handle like, but no, I think we're all confident on our Argons. They're definitely fast enough in the tunnel for what we're after, and yeah, we're very confident on them and what our teams put together.
What do you know about your rivals? We just assume that it's going to be Team GB, probably NZ, and also the Danish superstars who have got the world record. Is that the quartet that we're looking at, or is there more?
Italy as well, I'd put in that. They were, I think they're the five. Yeah, I think if you go back to Wales, Italy are quite strong. They've obviously got Filippo, who finishes them off quite well. I think that's sort of the main part we're seeing with a lot of the teams at the moment. There's a few teams that have got that really one strong dominant rider that finishes off that last K pretty strong. We've got the same with Sammy, but I think we've got quite more of an even lineup, which hopefully can give us the edge going forward.
So just talk to me about what position you're riding and what the expectations are. Do you think you'll do quali and go through to the final? Is it or are there going to be a bit of shuffling depending on conditions and fitness?
I think a lot of it for us will depend on how we are in our final freshen up and leading into the games, and probably once we get there, we'll know exactly how we're going. It's going to be quite interesting with one ride a day. The girls are a bit different. They've got qual on the first day, then they've got their round one and final on the second, but we've got one ride over 3 days. So I think a lot will be found out after the qual. You're not going to get that fatigue doing one ride a day. So potentially if the qual team puts a really good time out and there's space to move there, we could ride the same for the whole ride, or we could potentially swap out some riders throughout, and as well as the order. That's not set in stone. I think that's probably the biggest thing that our team has is the ability for a lot of our riders to swap and change depending on the strategy we want to ride, and I think that can really give us the upper hand coming into the final. We've got a few things to play with that could give us the edge.
And in training, have you been nudging times close to what Denmark said in Berlin?
Yeah, it's interesting. We don't, I guess, I don't know if people realize or think we do, but we don't really train standing fours. So we don't do full race efforts during training, just because you wouldn't be able to back up a full day, and you'd sort of do one effort and then the rest of the day would be a bit of a write-off. So yeah, we don't know exactly where we sit with that aspect. And at the same time, that was 18 months ago. Those times were set. So who knows how quick you need to be going now. It's a bit in the blue. I guess we don't even know what the Kiwis are doing, and they're the closest, let alone what any of the Euro teams are doing. They could be going the same. They could be going slower. You don't know how the last 18 months have affected people as well. I'm not sure if the same lineup's even going to be there for other countries. But yeah, I think there's a lot of confidence in our group going together. I think if we have 4 or 5 healthy guys that get to Tokyo, and hopefully we all pass the COVID tests, the heat checks, and just get on the start line. I really do think that us 5 could put together a time that wins the gold medal. And the same goes for the women as well. I think a lot of these games is just going to be who can get 4 healthy guys on the start line. And I think if you do that, we're in with a chance, but I think every other country is as well.
Just watching you there, when you said gold medal, I saw a little adrenaline surge. Do you get nervous about talking about gold medals? Are you anxious about it? Are you excited? What's the emotion that a person going to such a unique games has?
Yeah, it's interesting. We all got our suitcases the other day with all our formal gear in it. We've had our skin suits for a little bit now, but just getting the blazer out was pretty special. And I guess that's when I realized it was real. But yeah, like you said, there is a bit of a spark when you talk about a gold medal. I don't think you go there for anything else. So yeah, I think we're all there for gold, and I think no matter what, we're probably going to walk away pretty disappointed with anything else.
Just with Cam Meyer being he's withdrawn his nomination to be part of the team, so does that impact you terribly much? And can you just, for the purpose of this interview, just run through the 5 and talk through which the traditional starting order is for the team pursuit?
Yeah. So Cam was obviously, for us, he was a road rider that was potentially gonna come in and do the bunch. So that doesn't have any effect on our team's pursuit at all. He doesn't train in the team's pursuit with us, so it hasn't affected us. And for him, I hope he's going all right. But yeah, we've got Porter, myself, Lee, and Cal and Sam as well. So that's the 5. And at the moment, we've got Connor Lay here as well, who is our traveling reserve at the moment. So we've got 6 guys for the team's pursuit.
And you imagine that Alex Porter will be the starter? Is that how it's been? He seems rather slight, and starters tend to be a bit heavy. But is that just my appraisal from looking from and forgetting the aesthetic of everyone in the team after so long without racing?
Yeah, I think at the moment, Porter's he will be our starter. He's probably one of the best in the world when it comes to team's pursuit starts. I think he has, I guess, studied a lot with our team sprinters as well and trying to maximize that out of the gate. And he's quicker than anyone out of the gate. And once you get that bike up and going, the lighter and smaller and more aerodynamic you are, the better. So I think he's really nailed that, and we've got full trust that he'll put us together at the end of 3 laps quicker than anyone else in the world will. And I think that's what we love about having Porter in the gate. We know that after 3 laps, we could be 1, 2, 3 tenths up on the teams already, and that's something that they'll have to make back up on us come the end of the race.
So you'll be racing for, sounds like a dumb question, I'm going to try and word it correctly, but you'll be racing for a time or to beat the team on the other side of the track? Does that make sense?
No, yeah, it does. Not a dumb question at all. So for the qual, we don't know our starting order just yet in terms of where we will be in the lineup, but you sort of race for a time in the qual. You go out there on a schedule and you just try hold that schedule the whole time, and you base that off what you think will get you into a top 4. You need to ride top 4 to have a chance at the medals. And then after that, yeah, in round 1, it is a race. If you win your round 1 heat, you're in the gold medal final. So it's 1 and 4, 2 and 3, and if you win that round, you go straight through to the gold. So in round 1, it's a bit more racing. You sort of work off a schedule for the first 2K, and the last 2K, it's just you versus the other team. You try hunt them down, and that's the same process for the final. But yeah, for the qual, for us, it's about working out what time we think we need to go in that top 4. Obviously, you'd like to qual first, just so it gives you a bit of confidence, and I guess it's quite psychological too. If you qual first over every other team, they know they're the ones. They know you're the ones to beat. So we'll work out once we get there the conditions, what we think we'll need to do to qual first and in the top 4, and then after that, yeah, it's about racing.
We'll just wish you all the best. I know that it's a nervous time for you, but it's also very exciting, and we're going to get a lot more familiar with you in the coming weeks. Just if we can conclude this interview, like at the start of the year, there was talk about basically which team you were going to decide to ride for as a pro next year. Can we touch on that topic? Is there any news? You said you'd rather focus on the games before talking about your road career, but have you got a little announcement to make or not?
Yeah, so for me, like you said, the whole process for me over the last 6 to 8 months has been, the games come first. After the games, I am going straight over to Europe, so that's something that I'm looking forward to. I'll focus on, road worlds post the Olympics. I might dabble in the track worlds too towards the end of the year. But yeah, I'll head straight over to Europe after the games, and I got Tour de l'Avenir as well after that, which is pretty 4 days after the Olympics finish. So yeah, I'm heading straight over there to do a bit of road racing. So hopefully a bit of that comes out, and a few announcements should come out within the next month.
Watch this space.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, Luke, thanks very much. All the best. Big round of applause for everything you've done already, and look forward to cheering you on the boards in Tokyo.
Cheers, Rob. Thanks for that, mate.